It is Abby the Dawn Honecker here, bringing you this weekly coaching call. Today, we're going to talk about something that's really, really important. Something that was brought to my attention last week, and I wanted to bring that to your attention, and it's going to be our payment processors. And a lot of you are probably thinking, I have payment processing, we're doing good, everything's good. Why do I need to have this conversation? The conversation is that it's the kind of problem that doesn't just affect your business. This could affect your business in a way that it could shut down or freeze your funds. So I really want to put this into play when we're talking about pharmaceuticals, medical weight loss. Imagine that you log in and one day and you find that your payment processor has frozen your funds. Frozen your funds. You can't bill for any of your medical weight loss, semaglutide, your hormones, peptides, even your memberships, right? Your entire account is locked, including facials, filler, skincare. And they can hold your funds for up to 6 months, guys. Okay. So this is happening with med spas across the country because we're unknowingly violating MCC 5122. Okay, the regulation for this. And it's the EMRs that aren't built to protect them. Okay, so I had a client that jumped on a call with me last week and said, "Hey, Abby, do you know what this is?" And again, but unbeknownst to me, I had no idea what MCC 5122. And after doing a little research, I'm finding that a lot of people have no idea what this is. Okay. And so they were told by this, this EMR that's built on wellness. Okay. And they're built for wellness services that their payment processor does not support this code. And ultimately, they looked at their terms and conditions, and in the small fine print, it says you cannot process payment for medical weight loss and/or any pharmaceutical treatment through this payment processor, or this, and this can happen. So immediately they get on the phone, they call me, and now we're dealing with this and we're working with this because they do offer these treatments, and they knew that we offered these treatments when we just transferred over to this EMR. So let's talk about what is MCC 5122 and why does it matter? All right, it is a merchant category code for pharmaceutical transactions. Guys, this includes prescription medications, compound meds, peptides, including your GLP-1s, GLP-3s, GLPs, your hormones, and additional peptides. Enforcement really kicked in June 2025. From my research, I'm finding that it's something that's been around. Visa and MasterCard are now requiring that higher risk merchant registration to legally process these payments. Okay. So this includes the need for you to have higher processing fees, regulatory compliance, and ongoing audits. So if your EMR payment processor doesn't support this code, your account could be flagged, shut down, and even if it's working right now, one chargeback and one audit and it's over, guys. You lose your pharmaceutical revenue. Not only that, but you lose your entire account sometimes. A couple of these med spa owner wellness clinic groups that I'm in on Facebook, people are coming, "Hey guys, this is happening, and I'm starting to see this pop up. And I've seen it where they have frozen their accounts, they've closed their accounts, and now they're not able to process any payments. So this is really important. After this call, I want you to get off. I want you to take a look at your terms and conditions in your payment processing contract and contact your EMR or your payment processor. And if you want a checklist of things that you should be looking for, just comment compliance in the chat or in the comment section, and we'll get you a copy of that sent over. Okay, so here's why this is really important. Okay, if MCC 5122 is tied to how your transaction is categorized by payment processor, not your pharmacy license and not your clinical workflow. Okay, so this doesn't only apply to people who are wholesaling or dispensing. Okay, so it's not just like, oh, well, they're wholesaling and dispensing, so that's what that really is. No, if you're collecting payments for any prescription-based medication, whether it's compounded or commercial, you're dispensing meds to specific patients under a provider's order, not just reselling wholesale, offering meds as part of weight loss, hormone therapy, peptide therapy, or pharmacy-based or pharmaceutical-based wellness programs, you could still be conducting pharmaceutical transactions that trigger the MCC 5122. Okay, the confusion really comes when practices think, well, we're not a pharmacy or a wholesaler, so it doesn't apply, or that the payment process or card networks are where it really matters. If a prescription drug is involved, if a patient is paying you directly, even if, now guys, listen to this, even if the pharmacy ships it, you're acting as the merchant of record for the pharmacy transaction, then yes, you would fall under MCC 5122, and it will require a higher risk pharmaceutical compliant merchant account. So even if you're not wholesaling, even if a 503B pharmacy is fulfilling your per patient, if you're charging a patient monthly, you collect payment through Stripe on your EMR. Now get this, guys, like Payrix, Simplast, Stripe, Square, all of these, from what I'm seeing, are not able and do not support this code. So your billing party and your RX transaction has to fall under these regulations. So if your practice touches prescription medications, guys, in any way, you have to be legal when sourcing it, obviously, but you have to also be legal in processing those funds. And you need to make sure that you have a compliant processor. So again, I'm talking about EMRs that don't support this. And I just found out about this last week. So to be fair, guys, I want to be completely honest. I haven't had time to do my due diligence with every EMR. I have calls out to several of them. I've already had a couple calls. I've got calls out to payment processors. I've already started developing my list of processors that can support this. Because ultimately, I don't want us to be afraid, right? I don't want this to scare us. I don't want big pharma scare tactics to push us away. I am a huge supporter of these wellness stacks and treatment stacks. I'm a consumer of those. It brings me joy and happiness not to suffer in my unwellness because of these treatments. So I want us to get ahead of the game, and I want us to make sure we have a game plan in order to make sure that we're able to do this in a compliant way, right? So I had a call with one EMR. I jumped on the phone with them just this week, and they had no idea what MCC 5122 was. And they are a medical EMR, guys. So if you are interested in, once I complete my due diligence and I get my list together of who's not compliant, who is compliant, and how you can transition into them, just drop your email in the comments of anyone, and I'll make sure that you get that so that you can make sure that you're transitioning properly. And so there are a couple that I have found that do support this, and so they're going to have a great day, right? Because there's a lot of that. This is going to be a bigger issue where now your med spa, your clinic, your wellness facility is going to be looking for the companies that support this, because when you're using pharmaceuticals, you're paying that higher fee because you're a higher risk compliance. So most of them are not high risk compliance processors. They're just not. They're built for aesthetic services and not for pharmaceutical. So those platforms that do support it, there's platforms like Dr. Well and some other custom built solutions that I'm going to be working on with my clients. And I'm going to be adding them to that compliance list so that we all can make sure that we're able to maintain and continue to offer these treatments to our clients. And this doesn't mean, guys, that we need to jump on here and change our EMR. But if you're thinking of switching your EMR right now, get in touch with me. Make sure you reach out. We need to make sure this code is supported, especially if you're thinking of moving in the wellness world and into that treatment stack. And if you're not thinking about it, you should be, because that is truly where this industry is moving, and it's moving in a rapid pace. So don't rip out your EMR and don't cancel your processor today, but we need to have separate workflows, right? We need to build it out. So what I'm doing now with every single one of my clients, we're talking about this, we're doing some research, we're looking into it, and then we're going to build out our process. So if we see that these other options, which some of them I've seen are similar, but they are higher rate, and we already know, I had a conversation with my client today about how a lot of our med spas and clinics are even passing on that credit card expense to the client, right? To get them away from it. But it's inevitable that we're going to have to use this. So if your processor is not compliant, but we really want to keep our EMR, we want to keep it in our EMR, we've got to process whatever we can through that processor because our reporting is going to be off. And if anybody works for me, they really understand how important KPIs are and understanding our numbers and looking at that. There's a lot of room for manual error when you're looking at workflows and processing one here and one there. So there are things that we can do to separate that and really look at, here's our treatment stack that will be processed by our processors that do provide support for this code, but then also we'll be utilizing this processor for these services. And I know managers and front desk people out there are cringing because they're already opening up their checkout at the end, and they're opening Alley, and they're opening their EMR, and they're opening their payment, their credit, their financing, and they're opening this, and they're having to check people out from 5 different screens. And now guess what? Abby's going to tell your owner that now they have to process through this, and now you have to manually enter it into the EMR. And I get that all of this can seem overwhelming. However, what we can do is we can set up those SOPs and really build that out. Okay, and I'll talk about that in a minute, but we want to make sure that any processing of any RX treatment is flagged and then run through a compliant processor. And think about it like this, guys. Remember, they didn't want us to market this. They don't want us to use it in our ads. So we have to be legit script in order to be able to run these ads. So you have to have a really, up-to-date, in the know marketing firm that works with aesthetic and wellness practices all the time so that you don't lose the risk of being non-compliant. And then also, getting your ads shut down, Google, Meta, all of that. We see that every day when clients come to us because they need our help because they weren't doing this. So they're really coming at us hard. So when you think about this, I want you to think about it. It's as important as that. Same thing when you're ordering from a proper, an FDA, compliant F503A or 503B pharmacy. That is really important when we're sourcing. So think of it, that's as important as sourcing and as important as marketing. You have to do this. We now have to look at this with our EMR, and we have to look at this with our payment processor. This is any automated subscription that includes this as well, guys. So that's going to be something you're going to have to think about when you're billing all of these things, if it's built into your membership stack. Because remember, one audit, one chargeback, and it's game on. So this is the game plan that I have set for my clients and what I'm doing here. We're going to look at every single client. We're going to look at their process. We're going to audit their systems. We're going to protect their revenue. We're going to build a smart, compliant infrastructure so that we're able to still scale, because you are going to need to be able to scale and have a workflow that can really, handle the amount of clients that you're going to see that are coming in for these peptides and for these treatments. So we're going to review our EMR, our processor, and our product workflows. What do we need to do to build out our system so that it's easily then processed through a high-risk system? And then we're going to train our team. We're going to get with them, and we're going to make sure that everyone understands that there's no room for error here. There is no room. I spoke with a gentleman who has a ton of semaglutide. We had a conversation. He absolutely was audited. They came in, they tried to freeze his funds from that processor. He was easily able to come over here and print off his reporting, show all of his treatments, all of his everything that was run through this high risk. Boom, boom, boom. He's cleared. We're good to go. So it's also going to be about making sure that you're keeping accurate records and that you're on top of this. So we're going to be building that out with all of my clients to make sure that we're able to still keep up our processes with our wellness stack, whether it's, memberships, peptides, whatever that may be. We want to always stay ahead of the changes. So we're going to be keeping an eye on this as well to look into that. And I'll be adding again all of those things. So drop your email if you're wanting, if you're looking at wanting to know like which processors can be compliant as I do my due diligence and really dive into this issue for my clients as well. We have a question here, so I'm going to jump into that. AR uses Stripe. Is that required to keep AR? What to do? Exactly. Stripe is not compliant. It does not support MCC 5122. I do know that, which is a big problem because a lot of people are using that. I would definitely reach out to Stripe and see what their game plan is. I would assume that all of these processors are working on this and have a game plan. That will be in my research, and I'll have that ready to kind of walk through next steps and what we can do. But ultimately, it's definitely something that you're going to want to pivot from pretty quickly. And guys, this isn't something where you want to wait for me, right? I want you all to pull out your contracts, like I said, and I want you to be looking at your payment processor or reaching out to your payment process and your EMR. This is something that needs to be on their radar, and I'm reaching out to them. I have a feeling this is happening more, and they're getting a lot of inundated. And maybe it's a simple with them with different EMRs. It's a simple fix or it's a simple switch, or it's going to be easy. Don't be afraid of this. Let's just get ahead of it so that we can build out and we can continue to grow and stay compliant. I have another one from Wholesale. We have credit card processing solution that works for all. Yay. Okay. So Simple Peptide Wholesale. They have something that you can look at. So that's great. This will be all on our follow-up as well. But if you want to go ahead and comment compliance, you can get a checklist of all the things that you should be doing right now to keep you safe as you move forward from tomorrow, starting tomorrow, when you open up. Is there anyone on here that has any other questions as we kind of dive into what this could look like while we're kind of getting everyone's emails? Is there any questions that you have about your current processors? And again, I might not have the answers because again, I am doing my due diligence with with all of the different EMRs out there. There are a lot, and all the different payment processors that we have. Any other questions? No. Let's see. We have a few people joining here. All right. Anything else? So we have nothing. Okay, guys. So drop the word compliance, leave your email. We might have something else. Okay, let's see. What's the question? We just had one come in, but I'm not sure. There might be some in the chat too. Let me check that. Nope. I have to run, but we should talk. Okay, great. Yeah, so I'll get with the option that we can use. And again, I'll be sending that out to all my clients. I'll put that together for a resource for all of you. If you comment compliance, leave your email address. I will be sending that out. This was quick and dirty, guys. Again, just wanted to bring this to your attention so that you all can jump into it. Make sure we're compliant, make sure we're safe, and make sure that we can continue operating and bringing this wellness treatment, this wellness stack to all of your consumers like me who want it. It's not going anywhere. So let's just always stay ahead of the game when it comes to our wellness treatments. If you love this training, make sure that you share it with your team and other med spas that can benefit, guys. You can always catch the replay on our YouTube channel to get access to more free trainings and help your med spa grow. Visit our link tree and our social bio. Be sure to join us live every Wednesday at 2:30 Central Time, same place. You can find us on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, and